Romney has been, so 1 out of 8 jobs in Ohio is dependent in some form on the auto industry. The unemployment rate in Ohio is 7.2% now, which is almost a full point lower than nationally, but it had been 2 and 3 and 4 points higher in the last 3 years. So things are going in the right direction. And by the way, you have a Republican governor of Ohio, John Kasich, who most of the time tells people how much things are doing better right now and how great a job he's doing, which makes it harder for the Republican candidate to come in there and say how awful things are. So it really got down to Ohio for Romney. And putting aside what they're saying, they know that if they don't win Ohio, they're probably not going to get to 270. So they've been behind in Ohio. And so about 10 days ago, they based on being here, I'll use a football analogy if I might. I mean, they decided they had to go for a long ball because the short plays weren't working. So they went for the long ball, which I think is the most important ad of the election. And after the election, as I said, the Republicans are going to say they would have won except for the liberal media and the storm and all that. But it's really, I think, thoughtful people will tell you at the end that this was the ad. If you can tell me what to do, Bob. This is the ad I'll show you that will have cost Romney the election. And it's the portion in there you'll see in the middle about the Italian owners building the Jeeps in China.
Who will do more for the auto industry? Not Barack Obama. Fact checkers confirm his attacks on Mitt Romney are false. The truth? Mitt Romney has a plan to help the auto industry. He's supported by Lee Iacocca and the Detroit News. Obama took GM and Chrysler into bankruptcy and sold Chrysler to Italians who are going to build Jeeps in China. Mitt Romney will fight for every American job.
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
So, if you don't mind, Bob, just do that one more time. So it's that part about the Italians moving to China and building the Jeeps, which we'll show you one more time. That was the section of the ad that I think will have made it impossible for Romney to win Ohio. And we'll go through this one more time, then I'll tell you what's happened since this ad went up.
Who will do more for the auto industry? Not Barack Obama. Fact checkers confirm his attacks on Mitt Romney are false. The truth? Mitt Romney has a plan to help the auto industry. He's supported by Lee Iacocca and the Detroit News. Obama took GM and Chrysler into bankruptcy and sold Chrysler to Italians who are going to build Jeeps in China. Mitt Romney will fight for every American job.
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
So, the auto industry is more than just an industry in Ohio, and it's really the iconic sort of function, economic engine and history of people who live there. And it is inaccurate that the Italian owners are going to move production of Jeeps to China. And so this ad created at the elite level a firestorm of negative op-eds across the state in the papers. And for the target voters who are blue-collar white men in particular, they took enormous offense at this. And this, I think, will be looked upon as the game changer in the state that will determine who wins the election. So the map, if you look at the states in gray, so Romney can win Florida. He's got 206. He can win Florida. He can win Virginia. He can win Colorado. All states that he's either losing or it's very close. He can win those 3 states, and he's still not close to the 270. And the only way, as I said earlier, he can win is without Ohio is pick those 3 up and then pick off Wisconsin and Iowa. So it's really down to Ohio. That's why, at this point in the campaign, the only 2 things that matter is where are you buying ads and where are the candidates traveling. And everything else is just white smoke. And so Romney has had to spend a lot of this week in places he should have put away by now, Florida and Virginia. The place they're all spending the most time between now and election day is Ohio. But the math really works against Republican because of the way that the Electoral College is laid out. And I think it's likely that Obama will do better in the Electoral College than he will in the popular vote. I think it is possible that Romney could win the popular vote and Obama wins the Electoral College. It really depends on the turnout. So these are the states that matter in a close election. The unemployment number, you can see how, so you take Iowa and Ohio, or take Iowa and Virginia for a minute, both under 6%. You have Republican governors in those states telling everybody how great things are because it's in their interest. And you have Romney going in there telling people how bad things are. And you've got unemployment in those two states in New Hampshire that are basically, by historical standards, at about average. There's certainly no recession going on there. And New Hampshire is 5.7. I think Romney could end up winning New Hampshire. But you see how the states matter more than the country. And so you got to move away from the public polling and even the total unemployment numbers, and you start looking at these states. You look at these states on the unemployment, and you look at this state on the map, and that's how you run an election. So what you have here is you have two candidates for president. The current president, who's I think gotten a lot done, but has done a very poor job of selling what he's been doing. And the irony of the great communicator is he's not very good at communicating what he's done as president. And he certainly has done a very poor job of communicating what he would do if he got a second term. So you have a guy running for re-election who hasn't basically been able to tell you what he did. And he sure isn't even faking telling you what he's going to do. And then you have the other guy who has reinvented himself, so there's not a single issue he hasn't taken a change of position on. So he has got no plan for the future. He's got a 57-page economic plan and a 5-point plan. But when you ask him about, like, well, how are you going to balance the budget after not cutting defense spending and not cutting taxes for the rich, he's like, well, we'll have to do the details later. So you have two candidates who are, I would call, policy challenged in terms of the future. You have 40 states that don't matter. And you have a technology now in the 8 or 6 states that do matter to be able to go in small bore and target in a micro way per household, knowing who they are, what they care about. And so the sum is much less than these parts. And this is a campaign then in which this is the tail of the tape. It's these states. And if you look at the Obama white vote, so Obama got 52.9% of the vote, 53% of the vote. That is a landslide in presidential politics. It's one of the biggest wins in history. To the right, you see that in 2008, he got 44% of the white vote to get there. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. But right now, in polling, he's only getting 36% of the white vote. And then you see the latest polls, which they're all moving around. But essentially, Iowa and Ohio and Wisconsin, Obama's been outside the margin of error ahead the entire election, and puts him well over the top. Puts Obama at around 279, I think, is where I'll probably end up getting. So this is the increase in the Obama vote in 2008 compared to the Kerry vote in 2004. And the darker the blue, the higher the performance of Obama compared to Kerry. And if you don't look at the North Dakotas and the handful of very Republican, Utah, those don't really matter because, you know, the Democrat got 30 and now they got 34, so it's a big increase. Doesn't really add up to much. But the dark is above 6%. But most of the increase on Obama in general were young voters for the first time, African Americans, Hispanic, and unmarried women who hadn't voted before. And generally speaking, the states that have a higher population, the demographics that represent that group are the states that are more likely to have increased their vote for Obama. And so you look at the 6 states that are in red, there are 4 that I think belie the real trend. Massachusetts doesn't really count because Kerry was from there, so it's hard to count. And Louisiana doesn't count for different reasons I'll come back to. But these other 4 states, I think, is a combination of 2 factors pushing opposite this national tide in 2008. One is those states are becoming increasingly Republican and not Democrat. And secondly, there is clearly, anyone will tell you this who's being honest, a racial component to the vote away from Obama in those states. I think Louisiana is different, though. In part, some of that applies. But the biggest change to me, as somebody who's done politics a long time in Louisiana, is that post-Katrina, this is a different state in terms of who lives here. And there's a disproportionate exodus of certain socioeconomic groups, leaving a different pool of voters behind. And so Louisiana, which was, I think mostly when I started in politics, was considered a Democratic state, and it's kind of been moving sort of slowly, but it's really accelerated both the political trends and the demographic trends into a state in which you are in a television-free zone for presidential politics. And the, let's see, so just a couple more things on this. So what I said in the first classroom this morning to students who are freshmen and sophomore, which I will not say to you in this room, is in their lifetime, but not in our lifetime, Texas will be a Democratic state. And the demographic trends are changing so that in their lifetime, the Southwest, Texas, Nevada, Colorado, that's going to all be Democratic because of demographic changes and trends. And I think the Southeast is going to increasingly eventually become that as well. There are 4 states in the country right now, and the District of Columbia, that are minority majority states. And what that means is no socioeconomic or racial group that is 50% of the population or more. And by 2040, that will be our country. And so one of the challenges I have a bunch of friends in the Romney campaign, and they said the problem we have right now is we have a small pool of undecided voters or turnout voters and a dwindling pool of the electorate. And so the electorate is increasingly becoming not white. So in the 1992 election that Bill Clinton won, 87% of the people who voted were white. In the last election for Obama, it was 74% of the people who voted were white. And in this election, it'll be probably 72% of the people will be white. So in 2008, McCain got the same percent of the white vote when he got slaughtered that Bush got in 2004 when he got elected. And so by 2040, that 74 will probably be 48. And if you look at that green line on the bottom, which is currently 9% of the total vote were Hispanic, if you go back to 92, that same election, 2% of the people who voted were Hispanic. And so that 9 will turn into 18, 20 or something probably by 2040. And for the Republican Party, this is one of the most dangerous charts facing their future, which is they are alienating at a point right now where 70% of the people voting for president are voting for Obama. And this is a group of people that in the primary in 2008 voted 70% for Hillary over Obama. So this was a group of voters that affirmatively voted against Obama in the primaries in 2008 and are now voting 70% for Obama versus Romney. And so you cannot have, as a majority party in the future, you can't be tackling the largest, fastest growing demographic group in this country and be a majority party if you're alienating people to the tune of 70% voting against you for a candidate they don't like. So turnout's everything. And these people who voted to make this dark blue are the ones who are least likely in a lower enthusiasm election. They're the ones who are least likely to vote. So if you look here in voter enthusiasm, except for a small window there during the conventions where you can see on the right the lines coming together at 73-69, for the entire year, the Republicans have been more enthusiastic than the Democrats about this election. The overwhelming enthusiasm they have about voting is to vote against Obama. It is not to vote for Romney. But there is clearly, in terms of the atmosphere, a much more favorable environment for the turnout to be with Republicans. And this is what the Obama machine is having to deal with.